Hello, I'm very excited about this. So, I've been watching Married at First Sight UK. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you know. Married at First Sight is a dating reality show where two people get matched at the altar. They've never seen each other before, and then the first time they look into each other's face is also when they are getting married, and then from then they have to try to make the relationship work to see if this is actually the best possible relationship for them and the experts were right in matching them, or if they can't make it work for whatever reason. As a relationship coach, while I watch, my mind keeps going to, oh, look, there is a missed opportunity for great communication there, or oh, look, they reacted like that because their fears got triggered. So I thought, why not use this as an exercise to look into what actually could make a potentially great relationship fail or succeed? How much of what we carry into a new relationship from the past will affect the outcome of this present relationship? How important is it to be vulnerable, to know how to communicate? Is it just the spark, initial spark and attraction that makes the relationship work, or is there something much, much deeper at play? Because some of these couples, they start with like a great initial attraction spark, and then something along the lines goes wrong, or they start with not a lot physical attraction, and then boom, fireworks, you know. So there must be some things that determined not only the success of a relationship, but also how attractive we find someone depending on how compatible we are with each other. Let's get into it. So it's only week one. We haven't seen much about these people. And we are not here to judge and point fingers anyway. I'm not here to say, oh, that is a terrible past. No, look at them. No. Actually, very recently, I heard Lucinda Light. If you watch dating reality shows, I'm sure you know who Lucinda Light is, and I'm sure you love her because everyone in the world loves Lucinda. And I heard Lucinda say something about this very recently. She said, when we watch these realities, we need to remember that there are human beings behind the screen. So let's not just gossip about how much we like someone or how much we think someone is a bad person or a good person. This is not why we're here. We only want to look at how these people interact with each other in a romantic capacity, and how we interact with someone in a relationship depends on how healed or unhealed we are. This is my calling in life. This is what my goal is, to show that relationships, healthy relationships, of course, relationships can happen in any capacity, but healthy, authentic relationships don't happen unless we start from here, from looking inward. And what does being healed mean? Does it mean that we are perfect? We never say the wrong thing, or we never have emotions that affect our behavior? No. We are not AI. We are human beings. Human beings have emotions. Emotions are perfectly valid, all of them. What being healed means is that we do not react to these emotions in an uncontrolled way. We know how to sit with these emotions and act on them, not react to them. Let's see how, by looking at how these couples interact with each other. So, the first couple we see are Sarah and Dean. Sarah describes herself like the soul of the party. She's a lively woman, and she says that she's always gone for the wrong type of man. She's always been with like controlling man, and she admits that she's gone for looks over personality in the past. Her friends say, and I think this is important because if someone very close to us um, tells us something, let's listen to what they have to say. So her friends say that her ideal type is a red flag on legs. Sarah says her ideal type is tall, handsome, and with tattoos. And I want to highlight this tattoo thing because she keeps repeating it as if it was like a main characteristic that she needs in a partner for the relationship to work. Now, I think having tattoos or not having tattoos is really not what makes a relationship healthy. I have tattoos. My partner doesn't have tattoos. I think that if when we chose each other, I said, oh, I need to be with someone with tattoos, or he said, I need to be with someone without tattoos, we would have missed on a great relationship because of something very minor. And don't come at me with everyone can have preference. Of course you can have preference. Of course we can all have preference. But what is important to discuss is, are these preferences that you have and you think are so important in a relationship shutting down potential amazing relationships over something that you're fixating on and in the end is not really that important? Your preference, you have to decide, do you want to hold on to their preference or do you want to maybe rethink if that preference is really so important when it comes to having an amazing, authentic, healthy relationship? Let's go back to Sarah. So, Sarah says during the interview before the wedding that she now wants to meet someone. There's a great man and look beyond looks. The experts listen. They match her with Dean. Dean doesn't look like the type that she describes as her ideal type. Is a bigger guy. It's not that conventionally, like super attractive man. He doesn't have tattoos. Personally, I think he's a good looking man. Nothing wrong, absolutely. But it doesn't fit that type of man that Sarah describes as her ideal type. So when they meet, Sarah doesn't feel the spark, the attraction, the chemistry. And that's okay. It can happen that we see someone and we not, instantly physically drawn to them. And it's perfectly okay. What we need to wonder is, are we going to let this hold us back from getting to know this person and maybe finding out that actually we are attracted to them? Because we have to remember, I think we confuse physical appearance with attraction. So we have an idea in our head of what we find attractive because of society standards, like, oh, I think Brad Pitt is attractive. But am I going to let that idea hold me back from opening up to someone who looks completely different and maybe I could be incredibly attracted to because of all his amazing personality traits? Am I saying that we need to overlook attraction and be with someone we don't find physically attractive, sorry if I repeat the word, because they are a good person? No. Attraction is important. in a relationship like those that we are discussing, where two people are supposed to be having sex, sleep together down the line one day, because asexual relationships exist and they are valid, but in this case we're talking about people who are also looking for that sexual spark. So it is very important that that aspect is present in their relationship. So I'm not saying just don't worry about how you find how attractive you find someone. Just focus on whether they are a good person or not. That's not gonna work. You can be friends with someone that you find a really good person, but what I am saying is, let's look at them without all these filters that we have put in our head of only this type of person is attractive. Let's look at them through their soul, their heart, their personality, and see if that spark can grow. If it doesn't, it's perfectly okay. If after you have put yourself in the position of getting to know someone and the spark is still not there, it's okay. You don't owe them to be with them just because they're a nice person or a good person. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, open your heart. Get rid of all this overthinking. They need to be like this, they need to be like that, they need to look exactly as the picture I have in my head, which is what I think Sarah is doing, because she said to Dean that she would be more attracted to him if he lost weight, and then behind the scenes she said if he lost weight and got some tattoos again, probably I would be more attracted to him. First of all, I don't think it's very nice to tell someone that you don't find them attractive because they are a bigger person. But anyway, I think what she's doing is limiting herself because she's got this idea in her head that a partner needs to look a certain way and she can't let go of it. However, I want to be very fair to Sarah, because she's finding Dean's personality off-putting as well, because Dean is this like very lively person who makes everyone laugh and always tells jokes and is an entertainer. What he does is that he starts singing and rapping or barking out of nowhere. Sarah finds this off-putting. Now, if this person who is like always like happy and joyful and making everyone laugh is who you are at an authentic level, keep being you. We all need to be unapologetically ourselves. But is this person really who Dean is at the most authentic level? Or is this person someone that Dean is using to be relevant, funny, to interesting? Is it a mask? Is it overdoing it a little bit to overcompensate for insecurities that maybe it doesn't admit he has? Because if this is what we do, if we create a persona of always laughing, always happy, or any type of persona we create, and we'll see this with another couple soon, it won't come across as nice, lovely, funny. It will come across as off-putting because there's something not authentic about it. Authenticity, being really yourself, is the most attractive trait one can have. But what is difficult is, through the layers of insecurities, finding out who your real self is. So, is Dean using this mask, which is why Sarah is finding it off-putting, despite her, I think, closeness towards Dean? We will see as the season goes on. let's leave Sarah and Dean at this for now. Let's talk about the second couple we see in the show. It's David and Kai. Lovely couple, both very handsome men. As soon as they see each other, instant attraction, sparks everywhere, fireworks. They really like being with each other. They really find each other's smile calming and comforting. It's like an amazing wedding. So what can go wrong? Well, so we know of Kai that unfortunately is gone through quite a lot in his life. He lost his brother at a young age, and of course this is trauma that he carries, of course. And he also went through a divorce with a person that he thought would be his the love of his life. So we see them at the honeymoon, and we see David complain, or anyway say that he's struggling to feel an emotional connection with Kai, because he thinks that Kai keeps deflecting any attempts that he makes at, like getting to know each other on a deeper level. He uses jokes, fun, or making fun of everything. It's like a defense mechanism that he has to keep people a little bit at a distance and always be this like kind of like funny person who makes jokes all the times. David tells him, he says, I would like more vulnerability from you. And what does Kai do? He hears it. So he understands where David is coming from. And he says, I want to explain to you where this is coming from. He says, like, because I went through these traumatic experiences, I tend to keep emotions out and always make fun of everything, make everyone laugh, because laughing is easier. And this is a beautiful moment where where Kai actually opens up and lets David in, and you can see through the screen how the vibe changes instantly. You can see how they are more connected to each other. Everything softens, and they are even more attracted to each other. Like there is even more spark. It's amazing how a moment of vulnerability and being honest with your partner can do. So there is another couple with a kind of a similar dynamic, and it's Maeve and Joe. So Maeve describes herself as a party girl, someone who loves going out and having fun. Now, this is perfectly okay. If you love going out, having fun, spending time with your friends, dancing, whatever it is that you love doing, please continue. And do not let anyone tell you that that side of your personality is wrong. What I think is happening here, though, is that Maeve, like we said about the other people, uses this party persona as a kind of mask to not let anyone in and see her vulnerable side. So she created this character, party, loud, always up for a drink. The issue is not loving a party. The issue is creating a monodimensional persona that is not human, because humans are not monodimensional. And Maeve is not. Maeve is an amazing mother. She is ambitious. She's independent. She's talented. Like, she showed up on a horse. She's a great, rider. She has personality. She came in wearing a black dress. So she's, not scared of what anyone thinks of her choices. She's such a well-rounded person. She's got so much about her, but she chooses not to show it. She chooses to show the party girl and nothing else. I think this is where the issue comes when Joe says that he doesn't feel emotional connection because it's really difficult to find emotional connection with like a character. The emotional connection comes from your authentic self. Again, your genuine self, and that's not Maeve's authentic self. That's just a mask that she's showing. um Joe does something very smart to try to, create emotional connection. He asks her about her son. She has a little boy, and he understands that, this is a very smart move. If we want to get to know someone at a deeper level, ask them about something that we know they deeply care about. This gives us a glimpse into who they really are. And this is exactly what happens. Maeve opens up. When she talks about her son, her vibe changes. And Joe can see that. He can see that she is like a caring person, that she is a loving person. He can see all these amazing qualities of Maeve. So it asks her to keep doing that. He says, I really like the emotional availability that you showed, and I would like if you could be vulnerable in more occasions. Now, you know what we said that Kai did, and he heard his partner and opened up. Unfortunately, this didn't happen with Maeve. She got defensive, she got triggered, and this is what I was talking about when I said um, reacting to our emotions. Because Maeve is very self aware. She knows that she gets defensive when she's required to become vulnerable. She knows, she says it. She says, this is for me, it's very difficult. I feel criticized because I know it's very hard for me to open up, and if you mention it, I get defensive. She knows that. She's self aware. She did part of the work. Being self aware is part of the work. Being able to not react to these emotions is the second half of the work, and she hadn't done that yet. However, luckily, they managed to get over it, and at the moment, it seems luckily that everything is going amazingly between them. So good luck to them. I really like them both. Another couple that I'm only briefly going to mention because it seems they're doing great at the moment are Nelly and Steven. Uh, they really like each other. They're getting on really well up until now. The thing is, Nelly, she's very insecure because her past 3 relationships, she always got cheated on. So she says that this made her wonder if she is not enough, if she is the problem. Well, first of all, no, that's not her fault that she was got cheated on, absolutely. But I understand where her insecurity comes from. But something that she does really, really well is that she doesn't posture. She doesn't put up a wall. She's honest about her insecurity. She explains to Stephen that she is insecure about relationships. And what he does is he asks her, what scares you? It's a great way to understand where your partner is coming from. Okay, let me hear it. Let's talk about it. And she says, well, I've been cheated on, so I'm scared that this is going to happen again. And he says, well, I've never cheated on anyone. And straight away, she feels a sense of reassurance. This way of being open and honest about our insecurities, what scares us, instead of putting up walls and pretending to be this super person who doesn't care about anyone, is so much more effective. It opens conversations, it shows vulnerability, and it helps the person in front of us to understand where we're coming from and how we can find a way to reassure each other that things are going to be okay. So well done to Nelly and Steven. For now, they're doing great. What about Grace and Ashley? So, Grace is a feminist. Ashley is a man who says he was brought up with traditional gender roles. Now, this could cause real friction because the way we look at the world, the way we show up in the world, our values are something very, very important for the success of our relationship. It's not something like tattoos or hair color. It's something fundamental. So, when Ashley was questioned by Grace's friends about his feminism, they asked him, "Would you call yourself a feminist?" He says, "Absolutely not." I totally get why Grace is put off by this, because it is not our duty to educate someone else on human rights, even though when he's further questioned about whether he believes in equality and partnership, he says, "Oh, absolutely, yes." So we could have a classic case of not understanding what feminism is. But still, even in this case, I understand why Grace finds it a lot of labor that she doesn't want to put through. However, in this occasion, they were paired by experts who saw potential. So let's give it a shot. So at the beginning of the honeymoon relationship, she's completely closed off. She says she wants to work on the friendship. As a general rule, I would say when we are talking with a potential partner, I think it's always better, instead of using the word friendship, to use the word connection. When we say friendship, we instantly create the image of the friend zone. We can talk about the friend zone, whether it exists or not, and how it exists or not, in another occasion, not now. But I think what we're trying to communicate is that we want to work on connection to see if from this connection we can build anything romantic or sexual. So I think a better word to use is connection. Anyway, Ashley says, "I respect that. However, it's not what I want in the long term. I'm here for marriage, not friendship." And this is a very good way to express that you respect the other person's boundaries, but also explain what your wish in the long term is. For example, if we start to date someone and they say they want to keep it casual for the time being, it's not a good idea to just go with it, hoping that down the line they will change their mind and just be like, "Oh yeah, of course, I want to keep it casual too," if this is not what you want. If you are happy to keep it casual for the time being while you get to know each other, say it like that. Say, "Okay, let's do this. However, what I'm wishing for is a relationship, like a long-term relationship." And now you have told them that you respect their wish and their boundaries. However, you have different expectations in the future. I mean, when I say you told them that you respect their boundaries, it's not like we have a choice. We must respect people's boundaries. We must. We have two choices. Either we respect their boundaries or we walk away. And this, we can't force a relationship on people. It's completely wrong. And consent. So what Ashley did is, yeah, I'm with you for now. In the long term, I'm wishing for a relationship. And now you've made your expectations clear. Right now, it seems that Grace and Ashley are doing much, much better because Grace again opened up and explained that she struggles with physical touch. And, she helped Ashley understand where she's coming from, and that, like, this is a boundary she put up in place because it's something that she struggles with in general. And it's great that she keeps the boundary, but because she doesn't owe anyone a massage or any physical touch if she doesn't feel ready or comfortable with it. So keep the boundary, but at the same time explain where you're coming from. And as soon as she did that, as soon as she explained where she was coming from, again the vibe changed. They started having fun with each other, dancing, laughing, having a great time. So let's see what happens with these two as well. One couple that I'm really struggling to understand the dynamic is Lee and Leah. So Lee seems completely closed off. She doesn't seem like she wants to let Leah in a lot at all. It seems as if Lee has got this like huge list of qualities that her wife should have, and if her wife doesn't tick every single box, then she's not good for her. One thing I want to give to Lee is that she said something very important, very insightful. She said, "Your feelings are yours, and my feelings are mine." Because while they were on the honeymoon, Leah was a very outdoorsy person who loves the adrenaline and who loves adventure, organized an activity that wasn't what Lee wanted, because Lee is scared of heights. Lee gets anxious. So Leah was pushing a little bit too much, in my opinion, by saying, "Oh, are you not excited? This is exciting. This is exciting. This is exciting for you." So Lee said something very insightful. She said, "Don't push your feelings on me. You are excited. I'm not. Your feelings are yours and mine are mine." However, after they had this fallout, Leah tried to speak to Lee, explaining how she would really need something back from Lee, because Leah is trying to create a connection and Lee is pushing back. And Leah said, "I would like you to be more open, maybe flirt with me." Lee said, "I don't want to flirt with you," which is perfectly okay. You don't have to flirt with anyone if you don't feel comfortable. But I think what Leah meant was just be a little bit more, open, kind, because she gave examples like, "Oh, you could say, oh, your hair look nice." This is not really flirting. This is more like being kind to someone. So I think what Leah needs is a little bit of kindness, really. What was really great about Lee, what she did, is that after being so closed, after being so, pushing Leah back all this time, she went away and reflected on it. And after a couple of hours, while they were having dinner, she opened up to Leah. She admitted that she has been very distant, that she has built up walls, and that, she has not let Leah in at all. And Leah hears it and she's like very, very impressed, and she expresses it and she says, "I love how I asked you to be more open, and in a matter of hours you came back and already did all the work." Leah says she feels heard. This is very, very important. So we don't know yet, but there could be a change in their dynamic soon. Let's see what happens. Next couple, Julia Ruth and Devani. When I watched the wedding, I thought it was immediate spark. They These two gorgeous people, they looked at each other and it was like fireworks instantly. Um, However, maybe this is not the case at the moment. Well, Devani seems to be really into Julia Ruth. Julia Ruth is struggling. One thing that I think maybe she shouldn't have mentioned is that she finds Devani a bit too short because, again, um, as we said for Sarah and Dean, these are just, like external factors that we have in our head. And again, if Julia Ruth down the line still doesn't find Devani attractive, it's perfectly okay. She doesn't owe it to him. But open yourself to it. Let those filters go. But there is another issue there. There is not only the physical attraction. Julia Ruth is saying that Devani is a bit too intense for her. Negative, or I don't know, just, what, not fun, not, light spirits. I don't know, I haven't seen much of them because they came into the experiment later, a bit later than the other couples, so we only seen a couple of episodes. So let's see better what happens between them. But maybe it could be a case that Devani thinks that to create connection and vulnerability, you have to be super intense and super deep all the times. And maybe instead of just being himself and showing a lot of sides of his personality, maybe he's just trying too hard to create that connection. And maybe Julia Ruth is like, this is just a lot. I'm saying maybe. We will see in the next episodes. Last but not least is Rebecca and Bailey. We haven't seen much of them at all. One thing that I'm wondering is what Rebecca means when she keeps saying she wants an alpha man. Because as soon as she saw Bailey, she went like, oh no, this is not an alpha male. But I'm not going to discuss the toxic aspect of it. I'm going to give Rebecca the benefit of the doubt and think that when she says an alpha male, even though I wouldn't, okay, let's be honest. Personally, I wouldn't use that word, never ever. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she means that she wants a partner who is confident, who's got like a personality, who is a leader, not a leader in the relationship. Relationships are partnerships. There's no leaders and followers. But maybe she means like a strong personality. Maybe she means that. So, okay, fair enough. There are like personality traits that she expresses as alpha male. What I was confused about was how she looked at him and instantly knew that he didn't have the personality that she was looking for. But one thing I liked about Rebecca is when she said she wants someone that's not going to change their personality to please their partner. I agree with that. That is like an important aspect of someone's personality. If you are attracted to someone with like a certain personality, you expect them to be consistent in that personality, not to change depending on who they're with. So that clarity into what she's looking for, there's more clarity than just saying an alpha man. So we've only seen one episode of them, so let's not jump to saying anything about them. Let's just see how it evolves. Maybe she just, caught a vibe that he doesn't have the personality she's looking for. Maybe, you know, in the end she will be right. But I would say, just in general, let's maybe not jump to conclusions like that, you know, quickly. Even Rebecca's mom said she needs to give people a chance. So this is all for the first week of Married at First Sight UK. I'm looking forward to the second week and what's going to happen with these couples, and I see you all next week. Bye.